The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to you wherever you may be. It's time for Dodgers baseball on Comfortably Zoned Radio, a tale of two cities, Brooklyn to Los Angeles. My name is Peter Trunk. My co-hosts, as always, are Fred Wallin and Ron Rabinovitzas. Ron, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Peter?
I'm doing fine, waiting for my next birthday, and I know you are too. They're coming up soon. And Fred Wallin, 39-year-old friend of ours. How you doing, Fred?
I love Jack Benny. Other than the heat and humidity here in Southern California, I'm doing fine.
When does that break? Now, you've lived in Southern California all of your life, as I understand it. When does that horrible humidity and heat break for you?
I will swear to you, it's never been this bad, this consistently bad. And the humidity has doubled what it used to be. It's almost like, I used to go to Vero Beach with the Dodgers when I was doing Dodger Talk, and I couldn't handle, I'm a shower fanatic, so I couldn't handle I would come outside for an hour and have to take another shower in Florida. But unless you're here now, you just don't get it. And where we're living, it's not supposed to be that humid. And believe me, it is. And it's just like, you just drip and drip. But other than that.
What was the temperature today?
About 97 or something like that. And over the weekend, it's supposed to go again over 100. And, with the scary thing are the fires throughout California. Luckily,
yes, terrible.
Exactly
terrible.
Close to us, but they have been in the past close to us. But, for those of you listening, I don't mean to get too political, but if you don't believe in climate change, you're crazy. Because, again, as Peter indicated, I've lived here 99% of my life. I was born here. I lived in Portland for 6 months. Vegas, I would do radio shows, so I'd live there 5 days a week. But my home's always been basically L.A. No, there's no comparison to when I was born 39 years ago and today. That can make you guys laugh, just like Jack Benny. I love it.
That's right.
Funny. What was I going to say? And you didn't want to get too political, and I don't want to get too political either, but I'm going to say this before we move on and talk about our beloved Dodgers. Right. But with all the horrible, horrible fires in California, we haven't heard, I haven't heard one word out of this White House regarding those fires. Nothing. And that's all I want to say. Let's skip right to the Dodgers. We have...
let me just tell you one thing I forgot to mention.
Sure.
Riots throughout Southern California because people have actually tried to go to markets without a photo ID. Take off with the show.
You're funny. You're killing me, Fred. That's funny. He is such a douchebag. All right. Let's go to the Dodgers. Let's for once, and this is a mortal sin in my eyes, we're going to skip over the Brooklyn Dodgers this week, and we're going to go straight to L.A.
Okay.
Because a lot of things happened, a few things happened that are very newsworthy. And one of them, of course, everyone knows, the Manny Machado deal. The Dodgers got Manny Machado from Baltimore. And the next deal, or deals, plural, they got Brian Dozier from the Twins, and they got John Axford, a right-handed pitcher from Toronto. Now, I want to say that, in my opinion, these deals make the Dodgers, and you can argue, Pittsburgh Pirates got Archer for almost nothing. I would say that the trade deadline winners, if there's such a thing as a winner, would be the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think the Dodgers getting Machado and Dozier and Axford for what they gave up, I think they were the winners of the sweepstakes, if there's such a thing. And if there isn't, I'll make it up right now. They made out better than any other team, in my opinion. Thoughts, guys?
I agree. Totally.
I think they made out well. Obviously, Dozier and Machado basically are sure things. Axford is not. He gives up a lot of home runs, but as I asked you, I think I mentioned last week and the week before, I don't think most people could mention, other than Kenley Jansen, anybody else in the bullpen for the Dodgers. So now I guess you can mention Axford, but I don't know. You know, they've got so many starting pitchers that one or two of them may end up like middle relievers.
In the bullpen. Yeah.
Right.
Bullpen. So maybe those guys will get you through the 7th and the 8th, and then Jansen the 9th. Maybe that's their logic. So the first two, you cannot be negative on, and I think the third one in Axford, I think you just sit back and wait and see.
Okay. Let me remind both of you that 6 years ago, there was also a trade that happened after the trade deadline, so to speak.
Right.
It was a waiver deal,
right?
A 9-player deal between the Boston Red Sox and the Los Angeles Dodgers. And just let me refresh your memory. The Dodgers received from Boston Josh Beckett, Carl Crawford, Adrian Gonzalez, and Nick Punto.
Right.
And they sent to the Red Sox James Loney, Alan Webster, Ivan De Jesus, Jerry Sands, and Ruby De La Rosa.
Right.
The Red Sox would pay $12 million of the money that was owed Beckett, Crawford, Gonzalez, and Punto. Anybody remember how much money was owed those 4 guys? Remember, the Red Sox were willing to pay, and did pay, $12 million toward their salaries. What were the Dodgers on the hook for?
How much?
$270 million.
Wow.
$270 million?
$270 million.
Wow.
The Dodgers owed Beckett, Crawford, Gonzalez, and Punto. So that was a historic deal. And the reason I mention it, not because the only reason it was historic, that's a given, but that there are more deals coming down the pike. I mean, just last year, we saw Verlander go to the Astros after the so-called
after the
deadline.
Yeah.
What happens is when a guy has a salary that is prohibitive, he clears waivers because nobody wants to pay that salary. So you can make a deal. Once he clears waivers, you can make a deal. If someone claims him, you can pull him back. These are revocable waivers. And if you trade before September 1st, that player that you receive is eligible to play in the World Series. So if you're thinking that the Dodgers are done, they very well could not be done, and they could have some other irons in the fire going forward. Any reaction there, Fred?
Well, let me ask you a question, and this is
sure.
I haven't looked at the lineup tonight, but you got, again, we've said this before, but I think it is a reality. All right, so Dozier's starting tonight. I don't know if Muncy's starting at first or not, and is that Bellinger starting at center. All I'm saying is a lot of these guys are not going to be full-time players. And,
right.
I mean, a couple of weeks ago, Kempsky gets 2 home runs, and then gets a single the next game, and he doesn't start the third game. So
right.
my point is that a lot, it just adds to the pressure of Dave Roberts. Puig is now back and playing well, with a couple of home runs. I don't know how you get all these guys satisfied with playing time because all these guys think they're the best thing on earth, and they're all good players. But what I'm saying is Machado's got to start every game. Who else starts every game? I mean, Grandal starts 2 out of 3, but who else can you say?
Dozier has to start every night.
I'm sorry.
Dozier has to start at second base every night.
But see, in the papers today, Roberts told him you're not going to start every game. That's exactly what we're talking about. You said it, and I agree with you. He should, but how do you move? Muncy is not a second baseman. So,
right.
Okay, so you got to put him at first, and you got to make sure that Bellinger plays center, and then, when Peterson can't play against lefties, you got a bit of an interesting scenario there because, and people were talking just 3-4 days ago that they were going to deal Puig. So
Yeah.
because they have so many outfielders. So I don't know what the answer is. And Hernandez can play second base, shortstop, third base, first base. He can do anything.
Outfield.
So I don't know what they're going to do. I don't
and
want
he's
to
their emergency catcher, too.
Because no matter what you do, remember James Comey said, as far as the Hillary Clinton tapes and whatever the case might be, the eye things, somebody, another FBI agent said, no matter what you do, we're screwed. And that's exactly Dave Roberts' position now. Whatever he does, he's screwed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
they've been cold.
You know what?
They've been cold.
I'm going to make
hitting.
I'll make my case. I'll make my case on why Dozier has to start every night.
Okay.
Okay. Here's why Dozier has to start every night.
Okay.
If you take the last 2 months from last season,
right,
August and September,
right,
and you add April, May, June, July of this season,
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dozier has hit 33 home runs.
Right.
In that same span, Forsythe hit 5.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Dozier in that span, the last 2 months of last season and the first 4 months of this season, had 93 RBIs. 93.
Okay.
Forsythe had 29.
But Forsythe's gone. We're talking about Muncy.
Right. Okay. I'm just showing you the difference and why he has to play every single night.
Okay.
One more stat. Extra base hits in that period of time. Dozier 108, Forsythe 37.
Okay.
Now, why did I mention those numbers? Because Dozier, for all intents and purposes, Dozier was traded almost straight up for Forsythe. Plus the Dodgers won $1.34 million in less salary because Forsythe was making more money than Dozier. So the Dodgers saved over $1.5 million in salary. And this guy out-homered him 33-5, out-RBI'd him 93-29, out-extra base hit him 108-37. How many times, we all watch the Dodgers or listen to them, how many times did Forsythe come up with the bases loaded? And what did he do?
Out.
Absolutely nothing. He didn't even put the ball in play.
No.
Dozier is such an upgrade, he must play every night. That's my opinion.
Well, I heard he was going to play with against left-handers, and they weren't so sure about right-handers. But we'll see.
That would be horrible. If that's true,
yeah,
and it might be true, that would be horrible.
That's what.
In my opinion. By the way, talking about left-handers and right-handers,
right.
You know what Bellinger's lifetime batting average in the major leagues is against left-handers?
Not too high.
216.
Yeah.
216.
Yeah.
Now imagine if now he's a left-hand hitting first baseman outfielder. Imagine if Gil Hodges or Duke Snyder, after a year and 3/4, their lifetime average against left-handed pitch or whatever pitching was 216. They would be in Montreal or St. Paul so fast it'd make your head spin.
Yeah.
You know, just because Bellinger had a pretty damn good year last year with all those 30-something home runs and everything, he does not hit left-handed pitching. Neither does Peterson.
No.
Here's another thing on lefty-righty. Here's one more thing on lefty-righty, which I love. This guy John Axford, he's a right-handed pitcher. Okay?
Right.
You know what left-handed hitters are hitting against him this year? 144.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
144?
Left-handed hitters are hitting 144 against him.
Yeah,
and here's another thing. When you see his stats, when they put it in the LA Times or the Minneapolis St. Paul, whatever it's called out there, and you're reading these stats, and you say, well, this guy's a bum. He played in Toronto, which has a table tennis ball field. They play on concrete, fake grass. Okay? His earned run average in Toronto this year was 527. His earned run average on the road away from Toronto is 342. Okay? Batting average against him, against Axford, in Toronto this year is 264. On the road, batting average against him, 195. So I think Friedman found a diamond in the rough. He also rates as one of the top 50 pitchers in baseball for speed, throwing hard. He's in the top 50, consistently throwing above 95, 96, whatever.
We're in a huge.
I think he's a diamond in the rough. I really do.
Yeah, I hope you're right. But our whole team is in a slump.
In the last 3 years, though, some number like that. But I don't think I'm making that up. I think it's pretty close to reality. So
what's that number now?
I think he's played for. I think I read 7 teams in the last 3+ years. So what does that tell you?
Maybe he's found a home.
Maybe I'm dreaming.
I hope.
I think I read that. He throws hard.
But Muncie's not having a good year. I mean, he got cold like crazy.
And so what they did was they couldn't get a left-handed reliever, so they, as you said, they got a right-handed reliever who gets left-handed hitters out. So that's
there you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
If he comes through with it, I mean, if it happens, I mean, there's no question. And, you know, let me tell you something very quickly. You know, as far as Dodger Stadium and Petco down in San Diego, and you know, I watch all the games. I've got the MLB Network, and you know, when the Seidlers and the O'Malleys bought a percentage of the Padres, they moved in right center field, like 10 feet or 15 feet, which was a great, a much needed thing, and it was totally positive. But outside of that, I'm watching the games in San Diego, and the ball is traveling much better than it used to. You're seeing a lot more home runs. And at Dodger Stadium, the same thing. And I don't know if it's the ball or the atmosphere or whatever, but as we indicated, I think last week or the week before, we got on the Dodgers, we got 9 guys, and now Dozier, 10, who are going to get 20 or more home runs this year.
Yeah.
It's a remarkable situation, to tell you. You know, the last 2 nights, folks, we're taping this on Wednesday night. Last 2 days, Monday and Tuesday against Milwaukee, Dodgers showed nothing hitting-wise, and Wade Miley is hittable, and he wasn't hittable on Tuesday night. But this is the team that's averaging, I don't know how many home runs per game, but it's capable of, you know, breaking out and getting 5 or 6 per game. And now you add Dozier and Machado and maybe 6 or 7 per game. They're fun to watch. The only problem is we've indicated 60 to 70% of the people in Southern California to Southern Nevada
can't see them. Yeah,
that's
terrible. That's so terrible. Yeah,
that's true.
That's
my story.
They really.
Chris Taylor hasn't done that great yet.
No.
I'll
tell you who. Here's the guys I'm disappointed in. I'll just make a list right off the top of my head. I didn't write this down. I didn't make a little thing in the margin of my paper over here or anything. I just tell you who, and this is in no order of descending order or ascending order, whatever. I'm very disappointed in Bellinger. I'm disappointed in Muncy. I'm disappointed right now. Don't jump down my throat. I'm disappointed in Kemp. I've always been disappointed in Baez. Okay, and I'm glad Forsythe is gone. Well, he's just a bum in my eyes. He's a bum in my eyes, and you know, I don't know. I get a feeling now that with Dozier in that lineup, he's batting 5th tonight, by the way.
Yeah. Is he? Really?
Yeah, batting
not
5th.
Leading
That's
off?
what you know what? If Roberts let him off, I would have to take a plane to Dodger Stadium and hit Roberts in the back of the head with spitballs all game. If he
Why?
If he did, because that was my prediction. That this guy is a Harmon Killebrew from Minnesota. He hits home runs. He's a home run hitter. You don't bat him leadoff.
No. Okay.
No way. Jose, no way. The Dodgers hit too many solo home runs the way it is.
That's right.
I don't even like Machado in the 2-hole. I don't
either.
like Machado in the 2-hole. And, Bernie Rose told me off the air, well, the Yankees bat Stanton in the 2-hole. Well, Stanton in the 2-hole is a altogether different story than Machado in the 2-hole. First of all, the American League lineup is 100 times different than a National League lineup. In the National League lineup, you got the pitcher hitting ninth most of the time, sometimes eighth, but mostly ninth. In the American League, you don't have that. You have an extra hitter who usually is an extremely good hitter. He's not a bum. He's not your 25th man. He's a star. He's like a David Ortiz. He's a star. So because the Yankees bat Stanton second does not mean that Roberts should bat Machado second. I think that's foolish. Now I know your next question is okay, Peter. Who would you put second? I don't know, but I wouldn't put Machado. Machado, when JT is healthy, and by the way, he's supposed to come back this weekend. Justin Turner, he's supposed to return this weekend. Now, whether he returns 100% or not, that remains to be seen. Let's just say he's 100%. Then you gotta put JT third and Machado fourth and Dozier fifth. You gotta have a murderer's row, okay?
What about Kemp?
I just don't. You know what? Kemp's below 300 now. He was 350, 344 all April, all May, all June.
He's been carrying the team, though.
You know what?
He's just in a slump right now.
He doesn't impress me. He's too old. I know he lost all the weight. He's good in the clubhouse now. Blah blah blah. He's not the future of the Dodgers. Kemp is not the Dodgers' future. Just like I'll go out on a limb right here. Kershaw is not the Dodgers' future. Walker Buehler is the Dodgers' future. That's their future. Not Kershaw, not Kemp. Mm-hmm. No way. That's just my feeling. I don't think he is. His last productive year there, Adrian Gonzalez. Was he the future of the Dodgers? Hell no. No way.
Okay, but
these guys,
Fred, what do you think there?
Kemp came to camp 30 to 40 pounds lighter. I don't think he's done anything negative to maybe not say that he's really 2 or 3 years younger, field-wise, playing-wise, than he just was last year. So he may have 2 or 3 really good years if he can keep himself at this weight level and this strength level. I think it's like Ronnie just said, he's won a lot of games for him. I mean, in the clutch.
Yes, he
has.
I mean, he really has.
Yes, he has.
An interesting thing, too, up until 2 weeks ago, and I'm going to still say this, as crazy as it sounds, I think Hernandez is hitting 225. He still might be the most valuable player on this year's team because he can play every position. Now, because of Dozier, it's just one fewer position that he's going to get as many shots as. And you mentioned Turner. There's another position that he's going to get fewer shots at. So I don't know what the answer is. That is my point. Here's a guy who can steal bases for you, can play defense in the outfield certainly really well, and a reasonably good infielder. I don't know how you satisfy all these guys there. And we haven't even mentioned Muncy. I mean, what the hell has he done wrong? 23 home runs. He's, if he plays every day the rest out the season, he's going to hit 30 or 35 or 30 or 33. That's not a bad season for a guy that couldn't make the Oakland A's. I mean, but you're saying, he's gone and, he's done. And so my point is, so now Roberts said to who's the new second baseman? I lost my track here. Brian, who they just...
Dozier.
Forsythe?
Dozier.
They got Dozier. Okay, he told him, apparently, and at least it was written in all the L.A. papers, that Dozier is not going to play every game. So that means he's going to get Hernandez and Muncy in a little bit at second base, but Muncy's a bad second baseman, which means he's going to be playing a little first base, which means Bellinger's going to play more center field than I think people would assume. He's a good center fielder. But the best center fielder is back in Oklahoma City, and he's Andrew Toles.
Toles.
Anyways, that's
Toles.
showing. But they
how
got
many
a lot of
games
guys.
do the Dodgers have left?
What?
Huh?
How many games do the Dodgers have left? Regular season games?
50-something.
50-something?
Yeah.
Well, what's their record? 49 and 39, something like that?
They were 10 games under in May, and there have been 20 games over since. Yeah, they're like 10 games over.
So they're like 49 and 39. So that means
more games than that. They've played more games than that. Maybe they're
they have?
Yeah, I think so too.
And 49.
Maybe 59 and 49?
Yeah, something. I don't have the paper in front of me.
I'll check it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's say the Dodgers have 50 games left.
Right.
My prediction,
Yeah.
Dozier plays 50 games.
Okay.
That's my prediction. I don't care what Robert said. Dozier will be the DH when they play the American League clubs on the road, and Dozier will be the
59
second
and
base.
49.
59 and 49. So what's
Yeah.
that? 110, 108 games. They got 162 in a season.
Yeah.
Dozier will play every game. That's my prediction. That's my prediction. No matter what he said. I didn't read it. I'm not calling you a liar. I'm sure there's no reason to. You read that, or you heard him say it on a talk show, or being interviewed. Dozier's going to sit here. He's going to sit there. I tell you what. The first night he sits Dozier, I don't watch the Dodgers anymore. There's no way that Muncy. There's no way that Muncy is better than Dozier. There's no way. There's just no way.
Muncy can't play second base.
Just pull somebody and not play a guy who has hit 23 home runs and has been one of the great stories of this base. But outside of the Ohtani, I'm not just talking about in Southern California now. I'm talking about
Yeah.
One of the two or three stories have been Ohtani and Muncy, who came out of nowhere. I don't think you can just disregard him like blank just because you make a deal.
Well, I'll tell you what, Fred.
Ronnie, you're a sensitive guy. How would you feel if you're Max Muncy, you got 23 home runs, and again, you're not a good second baseman, but you're okay at first, and all of a sudden, as Peter says, you're not going to play hardly at all the last 50 games of the season. How would you feel about that?
I think it wouldn't be good. I think he still should play first base, not second. He's not a second baseman.
No.
And keep Dozier at second. And we'll see. We'll see.
You know, you talked about the feel-good stories of the year in Southern California, and one of them was Ohtani, and you would have to add Muncy, Mad Max,
Absolutely,
into the equation. But, you know, people like Kemp have a history of being very successful. People like Ohtani have a history, albeit Japan, but still a great pitcher, a great home run hitter.
Right.
Muncy has nothing. Here's a pot-bellied guy, comes up, starts pulling home runs all over the place and stuff. Now he's ice cold. He has no history of doing anything like this, and you're going to get a guy named Brian Dozier, who has 33 home runs in the last 365 days of the calendar year, and is well known to be a second half player. He had like 25 home runs and 52 RBIs last year in the second half, and 26 home runs and 62 RBIs in the second half the year before in 2016. He's a second half player. You're going to sit him? You can't sit him.
What's his
You finally got rid of Forsythe, and you got an all-star, a home run hitter, a power guy. You can't sit him, and he's a real second baseman.
I don't have an answer to this. What is his contract status?
You know what? You got
me. I
I
don't know
no
either.
clue. I have no clue.
I think he's got years left because I think people would have mentioned it's the same kind of deal as Machado if he was a free agent. I think.
No, I doubt if he's a rental. I don't think he's a rental.
That's what I mean. All right, so that gives you points. I think Peter, that gives you more reason to make your case. But on the other side, there have been miraculous seasons by guys who may never have that kind of a season again, or may have found the secret, and that could be Muncy.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that.
It could be.
We're not going to know
it
that.
Could be.
He doesn't play.
Could be.
I agree.
Yeah, could be.
We don't know.
It
I
agree.
Play. And So Roberts is in a situation of having to pull Bellinger, putting him in center, and Muncy at first, because we all agree that Muncy. Let me put it this way: I got lumbar stenosis, and I can play second base as well as Muncy. But let's be blunt. I watch him with the games I can watch. I can bootleg some of the games, and but I used to be able to bootleg all of them. But some, they block that now. But I can bootleg some of them. But he can't play second. He's got no range, and
no.
For that position, he's just not good for that. But it also takes away time from Hernandez playing second base, and it obviously Utley's not. Utley's just going to be a pinch hitter now, and for the rest of last year of his career. And they got a lot of guys who can play. The question is, it's sort of like, it's like he's going to have to be a mind reader. I'm talking about Dave Roberts here. Who is going to have the good game tonight? Because again, he's pulled people after they've hit a home run the game before.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
Here's what a lot of my thoughts that I verbalize on this show. In fact, the majority of them, I'm playing devil's advocate. I mean, I got a radio show to do. We got to fill up some minutes. If I say, everything is great in Dodgerland, good night, everybody, and we go off the air. So a lot of my stuff I do for the knee-jerk reaction. But the thing, I'm going to give Roberts credit where credit is due. Do I think he's John McGraw? No, I don't. But he does seem to have a phenomenal rapport with his players.
That's right.
Yes, he does. And you know what? There's a fine line. I've coached, and I don't know if you guys have coached in the past, but there's a fine line, and it's very difficult to establish that fine line. To be nice, to be kind, to be empathetic, to be understanding with your ball players, and yet not be a pushover and not be a pansy about the whole thing. So I think he does a really, really good job. Other guys like the White Rat in St. Louis back in the day, he told people where to get off, called them sons of bitches, cursed out their mother or Earl Weaver or whatever. Those Lasorda, those guys are gone. This type of guy, Roberts, has all of my respect in that.
Me too.
I think everyone on that club genuinely likes him, and I think they genuinely respect him. And if he comes to them and says, "Look," and he sits them down in his office and says to them, "Look, we got this guy, Brian Dozier. He's an all-star. He's hit 33 home runs in the last 365 days. He's driven in 93 runs, counting the last 2 months of last season and the first 4 of this season. He's going to play. He's got to play." And it was all splashed in the papers, and it was a big deal, and it took a lot to get him. We've been trying to get him for 2+ years now. We finally
about 3 years. They've been.
Yeah, right.
The rumors have been for 3 years.
I'm not going to sit him
I live
down.
in Minneapolis. I mean,
right. Okay, so I'm telling the truth.
For 3 years. That's right.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is we finally land the guy. I'm going to sit him twice a week? No way. No way. Yeah. He's not going to the bench. You watch, unless he's injured.
Yeah.
Brian Dozier will play every game for the rest of the season, unless he's injured. He has to.
They have stayed with him for 3 years. Absolutely.
Yep. And Roberts has to explain that to Muncy, Kike, and all. He doesn't have to explain it to Utley. Utley gets it. Utley's a coach already in his brain. He knows the deal. He knows what's going on. You got to explain to these guys. You got to sit them down. You got to explain them. You got to earn their trust. I'm sure he has all their trust. Here's a guy. I even think Puig likes him. I think he gets along with Puig. Yeah, I really do.
He does.
This guy's a miracle worker when it comes to that. The X's and O's, not so much. Not so much. He never sends anybody to steal a bag. I'm not a big bunt guy myself, but he never bunts. He never wants to steal a bag. He pulls his pitchers too early. His lineups are ridiculous sometimes. Guys are batting all over the place and stuff. But by and large, he's got the respect of the clubhouse.
Yes, he does.
And he will keep the respect of the clubhouse. I really believe he will. And Dozier plays every night.
All right,
that's what I say.
Let me read you the lineup. It's 5:42 Pacific time on Wednesday night, folks. If you're listening to this podcast after the fact, 7:10 is the first pitch at Dodger Stadium Pacific time tonight, so like an hour and a half. Lineup tonight against Chase Anderson, who's a hard-throwing righty for the Brewers, is Peterson leading off, Chotto batting second, playing third base, Kemp batting third, playing left field, Grandel catching, batting fourth, Dozier batting fifth, playing second base, Bellinger batting sixth, playing first base, Taylor playing shortstop, batting seventh, Puig batting eighth in right field, and Hill. So Muncie's not playing, and Hernandez is not.
I don't know if I like Grandal as a cleanup hitter.
You don't like who now?
What do you think? Grandal as the fourth hitter, the cleanup hitter.
Obviously, a couple of years ago, the ironic thing was he actually hit better right-handed than left-handed. He's a switch hitter. But last year and this year, he's a much better hitter from the left side.
Left-handed,
but
yes.
Barnes gets most of the attention.
What Roberts likes to do also is to switch righty, then a lefty, then a righty, then a lefty, then a righty, then a lefty. So they can't bring a guy in from the bullpen to pitch to more than one guy. That's what he likes to do. So I'm not so sure that Grandal is in Roberts' mind, baseball mind, is really a cleanup hitter. But where the hell are you going to hit him? If you want that lefty righty, lefty righty, lefty righty all the way through your lineup, you're going to have to hit him somewhere like that. My only problem with that, I like that lineup that you just read me. My only problem is Manny Machado hitting second, but I'll live with that. If they start hitting, they start scoring some runs, we'll see what happens. Let's talk a little bit, if you guys don't mind, before we go off the air. Let's talk a little bit about their injuries, present day injuries for the Dodgers. Hyunjin Ryu had a 3 or 4 inning rehab tonight. In fact, it might be going on as we speak. Rancho Cucamonga. He's going to pitch 3 or 4 innings tonight. So that's good news. He's on his way back, Ryu. Justin Turner, as I mentioned about 15 minutes ago, is scheduled to come back Saturday or Sunday. Julio Urias had a rehab start last Monday. And the good news is he hit 94 miles an hour on the radar gun.
That's good.
And he's coming back in September. They're being real careful with him. He's not coming back this month. And last but not least is Ross Stripling. Everyone thought that he hurt his elbow or his shoulder. He didn't. He hurt his toe. He's got an infected toe, which, by the way, maybe he's got turf toe. He pitched a couple of starts with the injury, and that's probably why he got his tits ripped off. So he'll be back in 2 weeks. They figure Stripling will be back in 2 weeks, but it's a toe injury, not his arm.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that's the latest on that. No one knows how healthy Kershaw is, although he did look pretty healthy his last time out.
Yes,
he looked nice.
Yes, he did.
He looked very, very nice.
Very good. Yeah.
I like the way he looked. But with a back injury, who knows? I don't know. I think Fred was talking about his back a while ago. Backs are very weird. You can feel really good and really strong one outing, and the next time you tweak it, you throw to first base or something, and you tweak your back, and all of a sudden you've got problems again.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take too much once you have a weak thing in the back somewhere. That's all I have. You guys, I'm shooting blanks after this. I think.
Let me just add this one thing, and before we go.
Sure.
Turner's coming back soon, so that's the third base slot. So then Manny moves to shortstop, where on the analytics, which you can believe or not believe, is not a very good shortstop versus a very good third baseman. Okay, that means Taylor's another guy who is not going to play a lot or play in center field when Bellinger's playing first base. So now you got Hernandez, Taylor, and Muncy, maybe the three guys who are going to be watching more games than playing in the games. And I don't know if a lot of teams in baseball have three such talented guys, if you judge Muncy on this year, sitting out. That's a pretty solid pinch hitting crew, and in the first one, not in Muncy's case, but in the first two also.
And you're worried, if I may put words in your mouth, you're worried that they'll get all pissed off, those guys. They'll get disgruntled because they're not playing. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to say, all I care about is winning, but we all know the truth. And, I mean, it's like, people have done radio shows in the past, and somebody could be the first guy and somebody could be the second guy. I'm talking ESPN or whatever. And the second guy always, bows his head to the first guy, but that doesn't mean he really wants to bow his head to the first guy. And, it's the same thing in athletics. Everybody's competitive. And so we got three guys who, once Turner comes back, who aren't going to be playing as much as before. It's an interesting scenario. That's all I'm saying. I don't know what the answer is.
Well, you know what? You know what will make it more interesting, and I'll put quotation marks around the word interesting. What will make it more interesting, Fred and Ronnie, is if the person who's playing is not successful for a game or two or three or four or a week. Yeah. Then you're going to run into a problem because the guy who's not playing is going to be saying, what the hell's going on? The guy's 0 for 20, and I'm sitting on my ass over here. That's the only thing that's going to open his mouth. What's not going to, he won't be able to open his mouth. He won't be able to open his mouth if everybody is running on all cylinders. If Dozier's doing great, if Turner's doing great, if Machado's doing great, if Bellinger's doing great, if, all the way down the line, if Puig is doing great, only when guys start to falter do the backups start to get red ass.
Right.
Okay.
That's true. You have nothing to say if they're playing well. But you've got plenty to think if they're not. I don't know what they'll say. I have a hunch. Again, I have not been to a clubhouse in years, but I got a hunch it's a pretty good clubhouse. And you mentioned it before.
I think it is too.
Peter, and you're right.
I think it is too, Fred.
Yeah, I think Roberts has kept the clubhouse pretty solid. So I don't think there's any, antagonism.
It'll be interesting.
You're talking about the infield, the extra infielders and the extra outfielders, and the Dodgers have players that can play both infield and outfield and play them well.
Right.
The same thing goes for the pitching staff. The Dodgers are going to have very shortly 7 starting pitchers when everyone's healthy. And so what's going to happen is if they stay with the 6-man rotation for the regular season, it's not going to be too much of a problem. But when the games start getting down to the end, are you going to start a guy who his last 3 starts has a 4.50 ERA, or are you going to start a guy ahead of him that has a 2.20 ERA his last 4 starts? So, and conversely, you're going to be using some of these so-called starters as relievers. We've seen that happen with Kenta Maeda, and we will definitely see it with the kid Julio Urias when he comes back up. You might even see it with Ryu. Who knows? Maybe Hill or Wood. You'll bring them in relief. So there's a lot of egos that are going to get dented and scratched. Okay. Yeah. A lot of egos are going to get dented and scratched. But a person like I talked about Utley before. Utley gets it. You know who else gets it? Kershaw gets it. And Kershaw got it last year when he said, "Put me in relief." Remember when he came in relief? Yeah. And Robert said, "Are you sure?" And Kershaw said, "Give me the ball. Just put me in." And he pitched 2 successful innings in the middle of one of the games. And you know what? When these guys get it, that it's for the W.
Yeah.
You know, you start. It's not like the old days where if you don't have 25 home runs at the end of the year, you're going to get a cut in salary. That doesn't happen anymore. You sign a 3-year deal or a 5-year deal or a 6-year deal, you're going to make your money anyway. So if the team is successful and you're winning and you're going to the World Series, you really don't have anything to bitch about. It's a new ball game. This is a new game.
Yep.
2018
It'll be
is not
fun.
1955.
Right.
You know?
I hope it's fun. I hope they start winning again.
Well, it's only
Been in a
well,
cold slump.
We all hope that.
nothing to worry about. Did I
We
tell
all
you
hope
guys,
that.
Did I tell you guys last week they called me a couple of weeks ago looking for the tapes of the post-game show after Gibson's home run?
Oh, yeah, you did mention that.
So it would be great if folks, if you're anybody out there to have the tapes of the Dodger post-game show that I did for 5 hours after the Gibson home run, Mandalay Productions are looking for those tapes, and especially if the Dodgers are in the World Series, if they're on Fox, that'll run somewhere, between games or something as far as the World Series is concerned. So anybody out there having those tapes, the general manager of the station doesn't, the sales manager doesn't, the PR person doesn't, the host, me, I don't have any of them. I don't know where they went, but it's been 30 years is all I can tell you. Maybe Kirk Gibson has them. I don't know.
There's got to be somebody. There's got to be some baseball nerd somewhere that taped it by himself, because we have baseball games on tape from the 1930s and 40s and 50s that people taped off their radios that have been turned into CDs that people listen to. I know I have a whole bunch of them that people taped right off of their radio. In their kitchen back then. So maybe there is somebody out there that has those tapes.
But I'm not talking the games now. I'm talking.
No. That's what I'm talking about. The post-game shows that Fred Wallin did back in the day. If you have any of those tapes, get in touch with, what is it, Mandalay Industries?
Mandalay Productions, yeah. Here in L.A.
Mandalay Productions.
Like Mandalay Bay.
Yeah.
This one's in L.A.
We can play those
during
the World Series.
It would make the movie a lot better if they had the tapes.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Sure would.
I presume. I don't know. It's a crazy world. It really is. Dodgers tonight against Milwaukee in less than an hour and a half now, and I'm looking forward to it because they
I am too.
scored one run on Monday, and they didn't score any runs last night, Tuesday, and we're taping this Wednesday, so let's see if they can score against the Milwaukee Brewers.
Let's keep a good thought. You're right, guys. Let's keep a good thought, and I would love if Dozier's first time up, he hits one out. I would love that.
That'd be great.
That would really bring a smile to my face if you could do that. But anyway,
we'll see him
what
last
happens.
night when he came in the dugout?
Yes.
And he came over
Yes.
to Roberts gave him a big hug.
First, he said hello to the bat boy like he was a regular player.
Yeah. He started.
Shows what a nice guy he
everywhere.
is. If he thought he was so cool, he wouldn't have even acknowledged that bat boy.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Before we go, let me just add this one thing. Nobi Kwana, who is the clubhouse guy for the Dodgers, for like 40 or 50 years. At 95, passed away a couple of days ago. So
yes, he did. I saw that on Facebook.
Yeah.
I didn't know him that well, but for years I did the show. He was a very nice man, and everybody says he was a very nice guy and
terrific guy.
A nice life, but we're sorry that.
Sorry he lost. He died. Yeah, that's right.
I just win the World Series.
Yeah, that's right.
95 years, boy. That's a long time.
That's great.
That's nice.
I'll sign up for that right now.
Well, Fred's got a long way to go from 39.
Yeah. Oh God, he does.
Just like Jack Benny did. Yes.
Right.
All right, gentlemen. Let's wrap it up. I thank you both. Enjoy the Dodger game on TV tonight or radio, whichever is your pleasure. I want to thank our listening audience. I almost said in our viewing audience. Oh, God forbid. Anyway, thanks, everybody, for listening. I want to thank Ronnie Rabinovitzas and Fred Wallin. And this
you.
is Peter Trunk saying good night, and we'll see you next week.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Night. Bye-bye.